in welcoming the class of 2026. Graduates, you may now be seated. Welcome, students, staff, family, and friends. Atlas High School's graduation ceremony celebrating the class of 2026. We are grateful you are here to join us. It is my honor today as the CEO to open the ceremony and begin the graduation activities. Bienvenidos a todos los estudiantes, empleados, familias y amigos de Atlas a la graduación celebrando la clase de 2026. Estamos felicidades que todos ustedes se unan a nosotros aquí hoy. Es un honor para mí, como directora ejecutiva, abrir la ceremonia y comenzar las actividades de graduación. Si lo desea, puede escanear el código QR en su programa para leer en español los discursos de presentadores. Today, you will have the opportunity to hear from our school leadership, a faculty member, a board member, and student about the journey of the class of 2026 to this very moment. It is the marker of many years of hard work and dedication. For some of our students, this journey with Atlas began as much smaller students and as members of our 5th and 6th grade class in our middle school, and as is our tradition since the very first class that graduated. I'm going to have you reflect in a moment, but first to recognize those individuals who have a special green cord because you joined us in middle school. You may briefly stand and be recognized. You may be seated. You all embarked on what would become an incredible adventure, filled with excitement, challenges, accomplishments, and much has changed over the years. One thing remains the same. The students who started with us in Atlas Middle and the students who joined along the way who are sitting next to you now, working for one thing, their own success in their postgraduate path. Before we move on to the remaining activities of today's ceremony, I want each graduate in particular to reflect for a moment. This is something I've asked every single graduating class since 2017 to do, and I love asking each and every class member to do here. Reflect for a moment on your own journey to how you arrived to where you are today. The hard work, the struggles, the exciting moments, and at times, the disappointment. But most importantly, reflect on the relationships you have formed and the people who have supported you along the way. While you may have done a lot of the work yourself, you are never alone. It might have been a mother, a father, a grandparent, an uncle and aunt, a sibling, a friend that may be sitting next to you or in the crowd today that supported you along the way, that pushed you, challenged you, caught you when you fell, and held you up when you succeeded. They may have felt like your biggest fan at times or the biggest pain in your side. Their words of advice may not have been what you wanted to hear, but it is what you needed to hear and when you needed to hear it. Think of that person or those people right now. Take a moment to silently thank them, and if they're here today to support you, turn and wave to show your thanks and appreciation. Graduates, I tell you this today as I've told every graduating class before you, in hopes that you will recognize that the success you have in life will greatly depend on the choices you make, the work you put in, and the attitude you put forth. Your success will also greatly depend on the relationships you form and the people who support you. For it is those relationships and people who will carry you through the tough times, celebrate with you in the good times, and accept you for who you are, always. So never forget that you are not alone. Never forget that you cannot do it alone. And always remember, Atlas is here for you. And we may be calling you in a few months to check on how you're at. So please do answer those texts and those phone calls. We exist as an organization to support you in your success. So lastly, I ask that you also remember this moment right now at your high school graduation is simply not the end of something, but in reality, the beginning of many great things to come. So we're going to begin the festivities to celebrate you in your class. And to do that, please join me in welcoming Mr. Martinez, current Atlas teacher and an alum of the class of 2017, to start us off as the MC.
Testing, testing. We thank our CEO, Brittany Stroh, for kicking us off. My name is Zoak Martinez, and I'm one of the Atlas High School faculty. And today will be my honor to serve as the MC for the Atlas 2026 high school graduation. Para la siguiente parte, si está interesado en seguir los discursos en español, por favor, use el código QR que está en la parte de atrás de su programa. To continue this program, I'd like to call onto stage our principal, one of my former teachers and advisors, Mr. Chris Novak.
Good morning. My name is Chris Novak, and I am the Atlas High School principal. Before I begin, I want to first acknowledge that graduation is an event made possible by the collective efforts of everyone in this room. Parents, aunts, uncles, siblings, friends who've become like family, as well as the entire Atlas staff. Thank you all for the support you've offered these soon-to-be former students and all that you have done to help them reach today's milestone. While we are here today primarily to celebrate their efforts and accomplishments, we are also here to acknowledge and give thanks to the entire Atlas community that is here with us today. Atlas was founded 17 years ago now as a community school, serving the neighborhoods and people of Southeast Colorado Springs. And as a community school, graduation is and always will be a time to reflect on the community of students who've grown with us these last 4 years. It is a time especially for staff and teachers to reflect on the stories and people who have defined a particular graduating class, often leading to feelings of abundant gratitude for the privilege of helping that year's students grow. But if that story is true every year, I'm not sure I can remember a single year where it has been more true than for this class. For as you've been told many times since you arrived to us 4 years ago, your class is special. This class is filled with students who carry with them stories of redemption, of incredible academic and personal growth, of dedication, steadfastness, and loyalty, of deep and meaningful friendships. These stories simply abound more within you all than I can ever remember. Each teacher sitting in the audience this morning can undoubtedly close their eyes and think of multiple students in this particular class who've touched their hearts in ways that are rare. And in this assessment lies what I want to speak to you all about today. For these stories, when woven and tied together, they form a vibrant, rich, and nourishing tapestry of community. It is something that each of you had a hand in creating and acts as a foundation of strength and beauty that you all very much have deserved. And while this community certainly does not unravel today, it undoubtedly will transform upon ceremony's end. Each of you will walk out of this building today a part of an alumni community instead of an active student one. Its role in your day-to-day lives will diminish, but the relationships, the lessons, and formative experiences it gifted you will nourish you for years to come. It is my hope that each of you clearly see the value that the Atlas community has added to your lives, and that this understanding informs your decision of where you go from here. My advice to you today is this: seek positive and uplifting community wherever you land next. As I'm sure you've heard many times over the years, adult life can be hard. It will frequently challenge your values and your resolve. It will regularly push you to your limits and can at times make you feel all alone as you navigate hardship. Yet if this is true, please also remember to take solace in the realization that the many lessons you learned here at Atlas will continue to serve you well in the face of future struggle. Accountability to self and to others, working hard to reach goals, and persevering through challenge will all serve your future success. But none will affect your overall well-being more so than actively seeking connection throughout it all. Find that community that makes life beautiful. For just like you've experienced at Atlas, the most nourishing and important parts of your life will be realized through it. In community, you will find affirmation and willing hands to support you through struggle. In community, you will discover trust, both in yourself and others. And most importantly, in community, you will find people who love you for your true, authentic selves. As you seek community after Atlas, I fully expect that many faces sitting alongside you today will remain connected with you forever and will always be like family. But in addition to these close friends, let the legacy of Atlas guide your search moving forward. Be sure to seek out people who greet you warmly and let you know that you are always welcome and cared for, just like Miss Roma, Miss Wright, and Miss Carr do every day. Try and find people who cheer you on as you push for personal growth, just like Miss Wilson, Miss Sear, and Miss Issa have. Remember how important it is to have people around you who listen without judgment when you share your struggles and continually offer a steady hand to help you move forward, just like Miss Geneva and Miss Sapphire have. Search for people who push you every day to be your best selves and to grow, just like Miss Sharp, Mr. Katie, and Mr. McDonald do. Locate people who take the time to get to know you well enough, such that they see you fully, loving you for all your strengths and your weaknesses, just like Miss Pena, Miss Brown, and Miss Mejia have. Value having people around you who hold you accountable and make you believe that you can do hard things, just like Mr. Jackson and Mr. Geraci do. And finally, don't forget to also seek folks who enthusiastically open your eyes to new ideas and novel ways of looking at the world, just like Miss Hensley and Mr. Martinez have. This list could and probably should go on much longer, as I likely don't need to tell you that the people who have walked alongside you during your time at Atlas are also special, just as you are. They have given you so much of themselves and have hopefully made a lasting impact on your lives. I hope more than anything that you leave here today with the understanding that Atlas will always be a home for you. And I ask that you honor all that you have received by carrying it forward and doing your part to foster Atlas-like community throughout the rest of your lives. Our world needs it now more than ever, and it would be the greatest gift that you could possibly give to us. In closing, I thank you for your trust in allowing us to teach you. Thank you for teaching us as well. Thank you for being an invaluable member of our Atlas community. Thank you for all that you have added to our lives these last 4 years. Congratulations and thanks go to you, our Atlas graduating class of 2026.
And now, we are going to move forward with presenting the Atlas Awards. These awards are given to a senior chosen by staff who is believed to embody each of these values or our school spirit the most. This year's selection was extremely competitive, which is nothing but a great sign that this year's class is filled with truly remarkable people. All student candidates get to choose the staff member to present the award for them in case they win. To start, I'd like to invite Ms. Jenna Wright to present the Griffin Award.
Good morning, graduates of the class of 2026, parents and family members, and fellow Atlas faculty and staff. There is a special kind of magic that exists in someone who captures something special without ever trying to be the center of attention. This is the person who quietly carries the weight and who steadily moves from saying no to saying yes. That is this student. Now, I won't lie. When they started at Atlas, it wasn't a great transition. This student was absolutely firm in their resolve not to buy into any of the things that our community had to offer. They didn't just not want to be here, but, excuse me, they were actively fighting against the idea of building any form of connection. But hey, changing schools halfway through high school and having to start all over again will do that to you. This student was a firm no in a building asking them to be a yes. This student had the idea that the more they rebelled, the more likely Atlas would give up on them and leave them in the dust. Oh, how wrong they were. The term for what happened next is something I like to call getting Atlas. For this student, it meant that the gravity of this place was finally taking hold. They stopped fighting the system and instead began to grow roots and see this place as more than just a building, but a place they could truly belong and be a better version of themselves. Somewhere along the way, the resistance turned into a quiet, grounded strength. They didn't just adapt, they became an entirely new person. Quarter after quarter, I sat in parent conferences with this student and watched his grades begin to climb and campus involvement increased. They joined Sergeant Ford's media club behind the camera, contributed to the Rodeo Hall of Fame artwork competition under the watch of Mrs. Fisher, became a regular on the stage in theater club with Miss Carr, and even became an integral part of senior committee with Miss Wilson and Miss Bellardi. This student became someone who captured that something special, that rare ability to be fully present and authentically themselves. Now, to the outside world, this might seem like a standard high school experience, but for those of us who watch the journey from no to yes, it is a transformation. Nestor Zuniga, you might feel you were not always seen during your time at Atlas. You might even feel like you don't need this award because you've already done the hard work of becoming yourself. However, I want you to know that we see you. We saw the fight, we saw the growth, and we are so proud of the person that you have become today. A few weeks ago at prom, you told me you were the happiest you've ever been. I hope that today lives up to that and will continue to move you towards your future. Please come up and get your Griffin Award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. For the next award, I'd like to call to the stage Mr. Teo Jackson to present the Atlas Award for Accountability.
Good morning. My name is Teo Jackson. I teach 11th and 12th grade science at Atlas, and today I'll be presenting the award for accountability. Teachers seek to hold students accountable in a variety of ways. Power school, live school, cold calling, exams. These are all accountability measures intended to prepare students for post-secondary success. The recipient of this award, though, has not needed these systems to remain accountable to his education. He does not earn deductions, drift off during class, and he has made very clear, does not study. But despite that, he scores high in exams, understands concepts at a deep level, and easily explains difficult material to peers. He does none of this for a certain grade, to earn praise, or to avoid punishment. It is because he is accountable to himself, his goals, high standards, and is intrinsically motivated. This student has taken the hardest classes offered at Atlas. He works after school, participates in sports, and has numerous hobbies such as weightlifting, rock climbing, chess, splitboarding, and caffeine. He approaches these hobbies with intellectual curiosity and commitment, and despite the lack of studying, he is constantly seeking to improve academically and is well respected by his teachers and peers. Ultimately, I think that homework, grades, and attendance are less important than holding oneself accountable to high standards and constant improvement, in addition to setting goals and working towards those goals. This student knows his stuff, and I'm confident that he will remain accountable to high standards studying aerospace engineering at UCCS next year. I'm proud to present the award for accountability to Keone Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. The next award is for perseverance. I'd like to invite Mr. Isao Osuga to present this award.
I'm very honored to present the award on the core value of perseverance. Perseverance is perhaps a value that has become hard to develop. How can we foster perseverance in a world where, for example, social media hits us with short little bursts of distraction, where we can endlessly watch stories that can be told in less than 20 seconds? We are becoming more used to demanding convenience, fast and free deliveries, and the promise that things should be done with our fingertips and a screen with the least amount of effort. How can we promote perseverance when it always seems easier and convenient to quit and start fresh than to stay, commit, learn from mistakes, and understand that the sacrifices made were worth it? Perseverance is understanding that there is a price one has to pay to achieve something. This student understood this value. They could have remained stuck when they failed 4 classes during their freshman year, but instead remained committed to giving their best. And although it took a long time, it culminated in completing 6 AP classes by the time they sit here today. While there are many factors that may have contributed to this type of success, like a stable home, good teachers, and solid friends, it has been perseverance, the daily grind and determination, the main ingredient that I identify as the key element that turned okay work into remarkable work. This student has become the living example that sometimes there is way more joy in the journey than there is in the destination. This student had to persevere against serious odds. A lot of people will say that you will not make it when you have to go to school in 2 different countries. How can you be successful when you have to switch schools and start over again? How do you persevere when you have to leave your parents behind in the search to better yourself? As I reflect on the journey of this student, I'm not sure I can tell you what the secret is or what the formula to follow is. However, in the end, if you ask him, I think he will be able to tell you and articulate what was sacrificed, the tough choices made, the frustrations, the tears, and also the moments in which those setbacks did not allow him to break him in the quest to pursue his dreams. The work has been steady and also completed with a great attitude and with a smile along the way. In addition to the pride I feel today for this student, it is my biggest hope that he continues approaching life with the same level of determination and perseverance, because certainly life will present many opportunities where these will be tested. It is my honor and privilege to call to the stage and present this year's recipient of the Perseverance Award, Angel Valladares.
Thank you, Mr. Asuga. Now I'd like to call onto stage Mr. Chris Novak for the presentation of the next award for Connection.
It has often been said by many wise leaders and philosophers that connection is the point of our individual lives. It's why each of us are here, and it is what we are all ultimately seeking throughout our time in this world. But within this simplistic analysis exists a loneliness that seems to imply that each of us are seeking connection in isolation by ourselves. And while I do not deny that there is some truth to this, what is glaringly missing is an acknowledgement that surrounding each of us are also those rare individuals whose very energy and spirit facilitates connection for others, connection with each other, connection to a purpose, connection to values. The recipient of this year's inaugural award for Connection has played this role within our Atlas community from the time of their arrival 4 years ago. In every pursuit she has taken on, no matter whether coordinating the Atlas Food Pantry, leading in student government since she was an underclassman, or engaging with others across the world in Africa, this person has acted in such a way that the people around her have realized a deeper connection to each other, to a shared mission or goal, and to the values Atlas was built on. Her instinctual leadership abilities, her warmth and genuine care for others, radiates off her like a pulsating energy of connection. While anecdotes abound for how this has shown up over the years, we all saw it clearly on display in this winter's student-organized protest against ICE. While there were no doubt other people sitting amongst you today who share in this collective action's success, you all saw her voice, her vision, and her leadership contribute to an action that was deeply connected to shared purpose, to each other, and to our community. By this point, I strongly suspect that each of you in front of me knows whom exactly I am speaking of, and see her the same way that I do. For this reason, more than any other, it is my genuine pleasure to bestow the Class of 2026 Award for Connection to Michelle Pena-Denise.
And now, for the final award, the Growth Mindset Award, will be presented by, once again, the very popular Mr. Isao Asuga.
No, pues apágale ya. Te estoy diciendo que más tarde.
I'm very honored again to present the award on the value of growth mindset. Cuando hablamos de la mentalidad de crecimiento, tenemos que entender que uno crece especialmente cuando las condiciones no son las más favorables. Uno tiene que intentar tomar riesgos y fracasar. Tener una mentalidad de crecimiento no es solamente dicho, sino que conlleva mucha humildad. Tener la capacidad de fallar una y otra vez y seguir convencidos que vamos a crecer como resultado de todo esto. Imagínense llegar a este país sin mucho, sin hablar el idioma, sin amigos, sin saber cómo navegar un nuevo país y sobre todo la incertidumbre de saber qué pasa en el futuro. And then, little by little, this person started realizing that they have to make it work and that the way to approach this growth mindset is by internalizing a three-letter word, yet. They found themselves saying, I don't know that yet. I can't speak that fluently yet. I can't do that yet. Embracing this three-letter word was key for this student. Like magic, they applied it to speaking, playing soccer, getting a job, even taking an AP class. All these things were yet to be figured out, and they all happened and done well. For this student, it was always about growing, always about learning. As this student embarks on a new journey, it's interesting how they can now use the word yet, but now kind of as a starting point. I am sure the student will look at the mirror and say, I have graduated from high school, and yet I have many dreams to achieve. I have too many things going on with life and school and work, and yet I can do more, better, and faster. I can speak and understand English, and yet I want to produce a documentary. A la familia de Dana, me gustaría decirles que a mí me consta el crecimiento que esta persona involucró, que tuvo muchos sacrificios, inclusive tiempo y experiencias con ustedes. Sin embargo, hoy los logros de ella no fueron logrados sin ustedes, al contrario, fueron logrados inspirados por ustedes. Espero que sientan el mismo orgullo que siento en la determinación de ella de nunca darse. Thank you for showing us that growth mindset is difficult and patient and joyful and relentless. I'd like to invite to the stage this year's recipient of the Growth Mindset Award, Dana Carlón Portillo.
Please give it up one more time for all of our Atlas Award winners and nominees. Seniors at Atlas have a tradition of selecting a staff member of their choosing to deliver a farewell message. This year's honor has been awarded to one of the most kind teachers we have here, one of my former teachers, my bestie, Miss Brittany Sharp. Please come to the stage.
Good morning, esteemed faculty and board members, all of the teachers and staff who made today a reality for our students. Good morning to the proud and supportive, loving family and friends who have come from near and far to celebrate. But most importantly, good morning to the soon-to-be graduates, the class of 2026, the reason we are here today. I am both extremely honored and slightly nervous to be up here speaking to you all today. Graduate, as you sit here, I hope you take some time to reflect on the path that has gotten you to this point. For some of you, school has been easy. You have balanced AP classes, extracurriculars, jobs, and somehow made it all look effortless. For others, the journey through high school has required more navigating, more perseverance, more patience, and more resilience than anyone sitting next to you may ever fully. But what stands out to me about this class isn't how easy or how hard the journey was. It was how you showed up. I have seen this class show up, sometimes in ways that won't ever appear on our transcript. Some of you showed up every single day when it would have been easier not to. Some of you showed up to summer school, to tutoring, to extra help at lunch, choosing not to give up on yourselves. Some of you showed up by pushing beyond, taking classes outside of what we offered, self-studying, and choosing opportunities that didn't come to you, you went to them. And just as importantly, you cared. You cared enough to ask questions when things didn't make sense. You cared enough to stay engaged, to push your teachers to be better, and to make us think differently. You cared enough to build relationships, not just with each other, but with us. You cared about our lives, how our weekends were, our family and kids, and youth boyfriends. You stopped by throughout the day for a hug or shouted, "Have a great day, miss," after you left class. You reminded us that what happens in the classroom is never just about content, it's about connection. And that matters more than you probably realize. Because long after you leave here, people may not remember your GPA, your exact class you took. They will remember how you showed up, and they will remember if you cared. So as you leave here today, heading into a world that doesn't always give you clear directions and second chances, my hope for you is this: continue to be the ones who show up. Show up when things are uncertain. Show up when things are difficult. Show up even when no one is watching. And continue to be the ones who care. Care about your work, even when it's not graded. Care about the people around you, even when it's not convenient. Care enough to try, to grow, and to keep going, even when the path isn't easy. Class of 2026, you have proven that you know how to do both. So wherever life takes you, college, careers, new cities, or paths, take that with you. Show up, care deeply, and trust that it'll take you further than you can imagine. Congratulations, class of 2026. I can't wait to see all the amazing things you do.
Similarly, seniors got to select a student of their own to address them today. The most voted student to deliver a few more marks for us today is a very special Michelle Pena. Please come to the stage.
Good morning, students, faculty, and families, and thank you for joining us on this special day, a day we couldn't begin to imagine what life as freshmen. My name is Michelle Pena Denise, and I have the great honor of being this year's class speaker. So I didn't actually tell my parents that I was the speaker today because I wanted to give them one last surprise, as if I didn't give them plenty of fun surprises in ninth grade, if you know, you know. Así que mamá y papá, sorpresa! Okay. It is truly an honor. It is truly an honor to stand and represent. Today, we make up a class of 96 seniors. And although after 4 long years, we're getting ready to start the world, I'd like to take a moment to remember our experiences at Atlas. Some of us have known each other since fifth grade, and some of us have joined us along the way. We have grown up together over the course of high school and middle school. Unfortunately for me, that means that most of you look at my horrendous emo days. Sorry. Um, together for this long means that we got to experience great memories together. One thing I heard my classmates say this year is that we have really become one big friend group. This is thanks to the fun trips we got to go on this year. Everything we have done over the years has been together as a class. Speaking of my classmates, I went around and I asked them what their favorite part of Atlas was, and here's what they had to say. Omar, David, Jaden, and Christine said their favorite part was the students that make up our class. Dana, Amberlyn, Hazel, and Keone said our teachers impacted them the most. Said Mr. Novak was his favorite. Arita and Brittany said the small school vibe of Atlas was their favorite. And Artesia said Keone and Justin were their favorite part of Atlas. The students mentioned above joined Atlas at different times, but all the responses have a common theme. I feel no different. My favorite memories from high school were all created from the moments we shared as an active community. From witnessing the 2023 senior prom that got other senior event, yes, I'm referring to the small car parked in the atrium, to classic Osuga sphere that was painted all around the school showing Mr. Osuga's stretched face on a white sphere, to getting 4 parking tickets from Mr. Andre, our security officer, and finally spending time with my classmates on senior. These moments would have not been possible without the sense of connection one feels at Atlas. No matter where we are from this point on, we have a family to fall back on. So let's take a moment to appreciate our second family. Thank you, teachers, for making us believe in our capability to grow as scholars and for being our rocks. Thank you, Mr. Novak, Ms. Burt, and Mr. Osuga, for showing us that we are more than our bad days. Thank you, PSS, for opportunities to solidify our next steps. Thank you, lunch ladies, for fueling us every day. Thank you, custodians and security, for keeping us. Thank you, Ms. Roma and Ms. Leslie, for welcoming our families. Thank you to all the staff who helped at this opportunity and not always see as students. And of course, thank you to our families who have loved us enough to put up with our teen years. It was definitely gracias a nuestras familias que han tenido ser valientes por nosotros en este clima político, sabiendo que enviar a su hijo puede resultar en no volver a verlo nunca. Todo esto es para ustedes. I feel as though I cannot end this part of my speech without thanking the 2 women. Thank you to my sisters, Allison and Angela, who you may know as Miss Pena. For Allison to never make me laugh when I need to, and for pushing me to be a better person. Thank you, Angela, for taking me to school every day, supporting me when I felt unsupported, teaching me how to be a kind and empathetic person, for being my best friend. I know I wasn't gonna get to this part of my speech without crying. Okay. For this last part of my speech, I want to dedicate it to giving this class advice for the future. For my first piece of advice, I want to share a personal experience that heavily impacted me. Everyone to try to guess the teacher who gave me this advice. Yeah, this advice is a difficult time. This February, I faced a heartbreaking rejection from an opportunity I really wanted. And it's something I really wanted, and I really thought I would get. However, some things just do not work out the way that you want them to. Okay, this rejection was taking a toll on me, as I felt disillusioned by who I was as a person and what I thought I was worth. This feeling impacted me in ways one of my teachers immediately noticed. She pulled me aside and was concerned about why my work was not up to my usual standards. I couldn't even form one sentence before crying everything that I felt. In response, she told me, "When you reach for the moon, you land among the stars." In the future, opportunity may are too intimidated to reach for. But it is essential that we try anyway, because the right opportunities will come. If you guessed the teacher that gave me this sage wisdom is Miss Carr, then you would be correct. I couldn't be more thankful to have a teacher who was always supportive through every emotion we faced these past years. So thank you, Miss Carr, for helping me get back on my feet and give me words to share with the class. I wish these words are as helpful to you as they were to me. Class of 2026, we did it. We are ready to turn our tassels and after enduring a hard year of trying to turn our work with senioritis, especially Gov. Uh, my final piece of advice to you guys as class speaker is no matter what post-secondary path you choose, it is essential we stay educated to protect to protect our natural rights and those of the ones we cherish. Even though it is scary to start our adulthood under this presidency, we as voters have the power to respond and use our voices to protect the voiceless. Let's choose to be on the right side of history. With that being said, class of 2026, let's enjoy being in each other's company for one last time. Thank you.
Great speech, Michelle. Up next, I'd like to yield the microphone to the student with the highest grade point average and as one of the most accomplished and hardworking students during their years at Atlas. I'd like to introduce you our valedictorian, Danelli Kashani Nunez. Please come to the stage.
Good morning. If I'm being honest, I don't know most of you very well, and most of you don't know me that well either. And I think that's a good place to start. I didn't want this speech to generalize and speak for all of you because we didn't have the same experience. Some of us were deeply involved, some of us kept to themselves, some of us found their place early on, and some of us still figuring it out. And that's okay. I think we share something simpler than this. That is, that we made it here. In our own ways and on our own terms, we managed to make it not as a country, but as a collection of very different ones. For me, high school was mostly learning about how to keep going. When it felt repetitive, when it didn't seem like much. I don't think that's unique to my story. A lot of growth isn't obvious. It doesn't always come memorable moments. Most of the time, like doing what you need to do over and over again. And if that's the case, then maybe you don't need everything figured out right now. Maybe you don't need a perfect plan, path, or some big defining moment to prove that you're ready for what comes next. Maybe it just looks like continuing anyways, not in some dramatic way, just one decision, one step at a time. So wherever you go from here, whether you feel certain, uncertain, or somewhere in between, I hope you trust that you don't have to have everything figured out to keep moving forward. Y finalmente, gracias a todas las personas que nos han apoyado, ya sea de forma grande o pequeña, a nuestras familias por todo lo que han hecho detrás de escena para que llegáramos hasta en formas que probablemente nunca vimos por completo, a nuestros profesores y al personal de la escuela por el tiempo, la paciencia y el esfuerzo que han invertido en nosotros durante todos estos años, y a los amigos que hicieron los días largos un poco más llevaderos y estos años un poco menos pesados. And to everyone here, even if we didn't know each other very well, we still shared this moment. And I think that still means something. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2026.
Thank you, Danelli. And now I'd like to introduce you, Danielle Somerville, Vice Chair of Atlas School Board. Please give a round of applause.
Good morning. My name is Danielle Somerville, and I have the pleasure to serve as the Vice Chair of Atlas. Before I get started, I'd also like to acknowledge a few of my other board members who are here today. I'd like to acknowledge Pat, Stan, Mary, and Annie. Okay. I'd also like to acknowledge board members from the Foundation Board. So Michelle, please stand. And Heather, I know you are somewhere. There you go, out there. For most of you, we are a group of people that you will never encounter, but just know we are members of the community who are speaking your name in spaces that you have not even entered yet, because we believe so deeply in the leadership at Atlas, the education that you are receiving, that when you enter those spaces, people will know you are fully equipped for whatever it is that is before you. And on behalf of our board chair, Carlos Jimenez, who cannot be here today, it is my honor to say that the graduates before me have worked hard for many years towards this diploma. And it is the recommendation of the Chief Executive Officer, the Chief of Schools, high school principal, myself, and the Board of Directors that these graduates have earned not only the right to walk at today's ceremony, but to receive their high school diploma, signifying the completion of their experience. Therefore, I would like to invite the high school team to the stage to begin the process of presenting.
And now for the part you guys have been waiting for. I'd like to call to the stage Mrs. Stokes, Miss Sear, Mrs. Sharp, Mr. Novak, and Mr. Asuga. It's about that time, you guys.
Beep, 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 beep. All right, let's get this party started. Empieza la fiesta. Please give it up for the class of 2026. Giovanni Abarca Baena. Aritza Yael Acosta Enriquez. Brittany Marie Acosta Valencia. Jesús Patricio Alvarado Insunza. David Amaya Gamón. Cassandra Ángel. Odysseus Lowell Annan. Iván Arreola Vera. Daniela Arbizu Sandoval. Sayuri Bárcenas Becerril. Osman Barraza Ronquillo. Kevin Alexis Becerra. Dexter Gabriel Brown. Jennifer Burciaga. Alejandro Frías. Brisa Maylin Bustamante González. Dana Carlón Portillo. Marían Lucía López Valdés. Angelina Chávez Aceves. Yaindis Michelle Colón Avilés. Adrián Uriel Cortés Valderrama. Rodrigo Cruz Garduño. Royce Daniel Martínez. Steven Isaí Enríquez. Abril Brisa Espinosa. Alina Sofía Espinosa. Luis Domingo Esteves Jr. Vanessa Estrada Pérez. Jason Alejandro García Reyes. Alexis García Valtierra. José Granados Sánchez. Owen Harefield. Jessica Esperanza Heredia. Zaira Hernández Arciniega. Henry Noel Hernández Gallegos. Yareli Hernández Mesa. Leonie Howell. Chrissy James. Danalie Hashani Jiménez Núñez. Jorge Juanico Reséndiz. Tania Lemus Carrillo. Tania Ruben Nehemiah Locks Jr. Ruben Nehemiah Locks Edwin Yair López Escobar. Omar López Moreno. Omar López. Marisol Herrero López. April Loya. Samantha Stacy Machorro Pedraza. Samantha Víctor Hugo Macías Rangel. Corey Ryan Major. Diana Manso García. Naomi Márquez González. Naomi Brisley Martínez Chay. Hazel Abigail Martínez Monje. Hazel Isaac Olivas Subía. Isaac Ángel Ortiz Rodríguez. Eric Ismael Ortiz Rodríguez. Marlina Palacios Ortiz. Natalia Pelayo Iracheta. Michelle Peña Denis. Daniel Perea. Irvin Antonio Pérez Barbosa. Liliana Saraí Pérez. Montserrat Pérez. Marisol Rascón II. César Antonio Reyes Bonilla. Yanko Aarón Reyes. Saí Alvarado. Keila Ríos. Marilyn Juliet Rodríguez Pasillas. Justice Romeo Rodríguez. Briana Saraí Rojas Ortiz. Angelo Miguel Sandoval. Emberlyn Jade Sheik. Yumaira Anaí Segovia Avilés. Israel Segovia. Israel Shanks. Diana Zulema Silva. Christine Maika Simborio. Larry T. Sims Jones. Katia María Solórzano Rubio. Jaden Springfield. Jacob Tapia. Yusi Anaí Toledo Aguilar. Dayanara Itzel Torres. Alan Benjamín Trejo Esparza. Joanny Valdés Portillo. Ángel Augusto Valladares. Ashley Guadalupe Vázquez Durán. Brisa Guadalupe Vela Pérez. Claudia Cecilia Villegas García. Jalen Sharir West. Jimena Yáñez Villegas. Gabriel Zapata. Dulce Zúñiga Rubio. José Zúñiga Sánchez. Néstor Uriel Zúñiga. Please give it up one more time for the class of 2026.
Let's get one more hand of applause for all you all. Great freaking job, you all. And now, to finalize this ceremony, I'd like to call to stage Mrs. Stokes for the moving of the tassel. Let's go.
One more piece of formality before we finish up. As a member of the Board of Directors, the power vested in me by the institution of Atlas Schools, I hereby recognize and bestow upon the graduates before me the degree of high school diploma and the rights and privileges that come with it. I would like to turn it over to Captain for the remainder of the ceremony. We got excited. Seniors of the class of 2026 will now commence with the tassel turn ceremony. To begin, I ask that you all rise from your seats. Your tassel throughout the ceremony today has been located on the right side of your cap. This symbolizes your time as a student, journey of growth, academic learning, progress towards becoming a graduate. In a moment, we will move the tassel to the left side to confirm your newfound graduate status. This simple yet symbolic act will conclude your journey as an Atlas graduate. You may now turn your tassel. One last time, everyone, please join me in congratulating the class of 2026 as they toss their caps into the air to conclude the ceremony. Thank you, everybody.
Back ceremony. Congrats to the Atlas class of 2026. We made us extremely proud. Good luck to you all.